What's up, boys? It's Tim here. Let's talk about Fluffy and Strickland. Main event this upcoming, it's on, what is it? A week from today, the 21st. They're fighting at the Apex. I've gotten kind of like, I have like mixed opinions here. I've always really, really liked Fluffy. Um, and, he's been on an absolute roll. He's won 8 in a row. And yeah, like against Kopylov, I think he was around like minus 190 or something. And I loved him in that spot. Kopylov has some decent first layer takedown defense, but whenever you chain things and you have tenacity with your takedown attempts and you are just really, really aggressive, you can really tire Kopylov out and just overwhelm him on the mat. Because once Kopylov is down, he's just kind of screwed. But it's just tough because now, and I liked him versus Pereira as well, and he's gotten more expensive since. And now you have to pay minus 280 against Sean Strickland, who's a tougher matchup than Kopylov and Pereira was, So that's kind of like the issue I'm having here. I still think Fluffy will probably win this fight, but it's probably dog or pass. But I'll just talk about the matchup in general. I love Fluffy's game. He's just a pressure wrestler, and it's really, really hard to stop. Some of the best cardio in the sport. And I really like his actual wrestling. I don't think he actually comes from much of a wrestling background. He might have wrestled in high school or something, but not like a big pedigree, like a Bo Nickel or something. And what I really, really like about his game is there's a few like folk style wrestling moves that I think could be utilized more in MMA, and some of them aren't at all. And one, whenever people get to all fours and they're trying to work back up once you take them down, like generally the way to stop that is people put hooks in, right? Or they clasp their hands and start mat returning. Another way to like stall that position a little bit is to get a near side cradle. And that's what Fluffy does a lot. And I love that. And he'll do a lot so you see near side cradles with Fluffy all the time. And then another thing is he'll switch between his putting hooks in for a rear naked choke, like a half hook. And then he'll go to kind of like a front choke, and he'll kind of just keep going back and forth. And yeah, like he leg rides almost like a high school wrestler, and it gives people a lot of issues. And I think it's because a lot of these moves aren't utilized in MMA enough. So when he's doing this to people, I think it's almost the first time they're feeling it, especially at that tenacity level. So I really like Fluffy's game. And I also think he's an underrated striker. Like, I don't think he's all that great technically on the feet, but he really just uses his pressure and his offense very, very well, and his pace. And so he's really like a pace reliant striker, and it allows him to do well in the striking exchanges too. And you saw that against guys like Michel Pereira, who kind of needs to slow the fight down a little bit, but Fluffy just kind of went after him. And yeah, so that's pretty much Fluffy's game, pressure wrestler. He has like a niche way of keeping people down and just kind of overwhelming them with like near side cradles, a lot of other things. And pressure striker, everything kind of revolves around his pace. I would say his issue is I don't think he's the most technical fighter. So I think if he can't gas someone out and they're not tired, they can compete much better. And that could be an issue in this fight. And I think the other thing about him is he's been weak to the body before. We've seen that in several matchups. I think he's been hurt in some of these wins, even to the body. I can't remember like fully, but Kevin Holland, hurt him to the body. Marcus Perez hurt him to the body multiple times, and Anaconda choked him. And I think like since then, there's been a couple of these fights where he's been hurt to the body a little bit. But I do think I think he's done a good job since of kind of just addressing that and not giving people opportunities or space to kind of land to the body. But then Sean Strickland, it's weird because if you look, on the feet, we know Sean's game, volume striker, really good jab, technical, really good, underrated defensively to the head. And his defensive head strike metrics are like really, really good. And I thought that's why he was a little undervalued going against Israel Adesanya, and that ended up kind of showing up there. But really, really, really good kind of fundamental boxer. And then like we know his game on the feet. I will say, actually, hold on before I get to that. But then as far as his actual defensive wrestling goes, I've liked what I've seen in recent fights, but also you saw it a bit against Abus Magomedov. I feel like he hasn't fought many grapplers. Like he was taken down a few times in his Dricus du Plessis fight, but he worked up very well. And like I've seen him work up and fight hands very, very well in recent fights. But if you look at these guys, it's like Dricus is a little bit of a grappler, but he's mostly a striker. Kos is a striker. Adesanya is a striker. Magomedov's a little bit of both, and we like, but he tired out. The couple grappling exchanges in those fights, I thought Strickland did a good job. Imaval's a little bit of both. Cannonier striker, Pereira striker, Hermanson, a little bit of both, but he's not the best like takedown artist, right? Hall striker, Jocko, a little bit of both, but not really a wrestler. Brendan Allen, that was good. He shut him down, but Allen did strike a lot. Marshman striker. So you almost have to go back to like the Usman fight before he was really like the last time he was really wrestled hard against, and that was back in 2017. So it's tough. I don't think we have like a fluffy comparison in here, but I will say like the exchanges I've seen, I've liked of Strickland. And also I don't always put a lot of stock into this, but apparently like he wrestles really, really well with guys like Magomed Ankalaev in the gym and things like that. So yeah, like it's tough. Like I don't exactly know how these exchanges are going to go with the grappling exchanges. I tend to think Fluffy will land some takedowns, but I feel like Fluffy really overwhelms people when they start tiring and things. And I think there's a chance Strickland just does, like, I think he'll get taken down a bit, but there's a good chance he doesn't tire and he does work up. And so Hernandez is going to have to strike a little more in this matchup than usual. So I could see, just because the grappling mitigation could happen here a little more against Hernandez than what he's used to, I could see this getting interesting. On the feet, I think Strickland Strickland in his prime, I think is a better striker. And I think honestly, the thing that could keep Strickland live in this fight is he doesn't tire much. Like he's known for his cardio as well. But the only thing I'm like worried about with Strickland is even on the feet, Fluffy will get aggressive and land his strikes, and he uses his takedown attempts to kind of disrupt your rhythm, your striking rhythm. And what I'm worried about is Strickland looked bad in this last rematch, in his rematch against Dricus du Plessis. And all his other fights, so Strickland's kind of looked like Strickland, but I thought he, in particular, really struggled getting his own strikes and offense going. He just looked he still landed plenty of significant strikes, but I just feel like he wasn't landing with like intent or really going for it. And he lost 5-0 in that fight on the rounds. And what I'm worried about is Strickland goes in there, does decent against the defensive grappling, gets taken down a bit, but gives himself opportunities to strike, but he doesn't take advantage of them enough, So that's kind of what I'm worried about. I still think it's like a dog or pass situation. Most likely, it's really like what's Strickland's form going to be, because I don't think he looked all that great in his last matchup against Dricus du Plessis. And I like Strickland, but it was not his best performance. He's 34, so perhaps he's declined a little bit. I think we could be overreacting though, and we still get the Strickland we know, but it's interesting, man. I think Strickland has the tools historically to give Hernandez issues, but he needs to get his actual strikes going. And I'm still like, who knows exactly how those defensive grappling exchanges go. I tend to think Strickland will get taken down here, but I think he's going to work up and give Fluffy issues at times. At least like defensively, like I think he'll get back to the feet and they're going to have to box a bit. So interesting fight. I think career trajectory, I lean Hernandez, like just as far as like a pick. Just he's a younger guy, and I do think that Strickland last performance wasn't great, but I don't know. I still think Strickland's pretty freaking good, man. So this is a really interesting matchup, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on the fight, but this should be a fun one. This should be a really high paced fight, and I'm really excited to kind of see if the defensive grappling of Strickland holds up. So thank you, boys.